about having to recite their name and date of birth for the 50th time, our professors would say, sorry, it's just standard protocol, we have to do it. So you better run as fast as you can to security before you miss this exam. Anyone who's had to do it knows the struggle. There is nothing that gets my blood pumping in the morning like sprinting a mile across campus 5 minutes before an exam. Over a year ago, we began this journey with little, if any, knowledge of nursing. If you can recall, around spring of 2013, we were all sitting at orientation, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to start this program. This was it. We were going to be nurses. But our poor, naive little souls had no idea of what the next 14 months would truly entail. They did try to warn us, though. They told us as we sat there with the smiles fading from our perky faces that if we were A students, we should not be expecting to get A's in nursing school. Yep. That we would have to sacrifice a lot if we wanted to be successful, and that we shouldn't plan on moving, getting pregnant, getting married, or getting divorced. I can safely say that never in my college career have I taken an English comp class where they introduced the course by warning me about my life choices. So we knew this was serious. They told us the truth. If we wanted great rewards, we would have to go to great lengths. And I believe I can safely speak on behalf of every single nursing student when I say that we certainly did go to great lengths. We stayed up way too late finishing care plans, and we woke up ridiculously early for clinicals. We stared at our computer screens for hours taking practice questions, and we lugged around a 20-pound backpack like it was our infant child. We sacrificed many things for the sake of studying. We had to decline party invitations, dinners and lunches, vacations, and we missed out on a lot of fun. We highlighted our books so much that we could have worn the pages to an 80s costume party, and we would have looked pretty cool. Our cups overflowed with coffee, our brains overflowed with information, and our sinks overflowed with dishes. In total, we made it past 5 skills evaluations, over 500 hours of clinical time, 33 exams, and countless numbers of lectures. I say countless mainly because I did not feel like counting them all, because there was a lot. Luckily, we had each other. Somewhere in between all the chaos, the endless hours, the sleep deprivation, the mass confusion, the panic attacks, the 7-hour lectures, and the never-ending care plans, friendships began to emerge. We studied together, encouraged each other, laughed together, cried together, and we cleaned up diarrhea together. There's something special to be said about that kind of bond. I might be a little more than biased, but I truly believe we had an amazing group of people in our class. I knew from the very first day of lecture that we were a special bunch. Being a brand new nursing student is nerve-wracking. We were lucky enough to have Miss Stanford as our first professor during this vulnerable time to ease us into the program. Sure, she may have been frightening at times. And yes, her flowy robes were intimidating. But she was incredibly passionate about nursing, and she believed in us. She came in on Saturday mornings to study with us, and she wrote affirmations on the whiteboard before exams. You will get an A, you know this information. Soon enough, we had our first clinical experience. Our uniforms were bleach white and freshly ironed, 4 alarm clocks had been set, our nerves kept us up half the night, and we arrived at clinical an hour early. Fast forward to our last semester, where we were dressing ourselves in the car, speeding down 95, practically shotgunning a Red Bull, and rationalizing that getting a critical U for being late isn't really the worst thing that could happen at this point. Those first clinicals were eye-opening, to say the least. What we saw could never be unseen. The reality of nursing began to sink in. But we managed to keep our heads above water in that first semester, and we made it through. In our second semester, we learned how to really study, and we were introduced to the joys of online lectures. In Mother Baby, we had highly visual graphics, and Mrs. Straka had us do Kegel exercises in class. Come on, everybody. 1 and 2. ex vivo success. Mother-baby was essentially a healthy balance between why in the world would anyone choose to do this to themselves, and that they're so adorable. In MedSurg 1, we watched highly interesting YouTube videos, and we discovered the true nature of nursing style exam questions. Yes, every single answer choice is technically correct, but which one is the best thing to do? Also around this time, some of us were brave enough to start asking questions that fell in the I really should know this by now category. We'd be sitting in study group and someone would casually slip in, so what is the true difference between airway and breathing? Then, before we knew it, we were halfway through the program. Mental health nursing is appropriately placed in the third semester because it's just about that time where you really start to question your sanity. Have I always felt this way? What was it like to be a normal person? Jessica. In psych, we diagnosed ourselves with, at the very least, 2 different disorders. We'd be sitting in lecture looking at the PowerPoint, and suddenly it would dawn on us that we could completely relate to this. We knew we had arrived in pediatrics because our professors were exceptionally kind, patient, and gentle. Besides that one exam. That was neither kind nor gentle, and at the very least they could have given us a sticker or a Hello Kitty Band-Aid after. In peds, we learned that children were essentially adorable walking cesspools, governed by developmental stages. Sorry, guys. We finished off the third semester feeling like we had truly accomplished a miracle. For our final semester, we reunited as a group to finish this thing off the way we started it. Jessica DePalma gave us a lot of good laughs in MedSurg too. Plus, she taught us how to resuscitate a person with enthusiasm. We worked our way up to having 3 patients in clinical, and for many of us, it was the first time we started to really feel like we would not be a complete hazard in the workplace. So now, after all that we've been through, we are finally ready to leave the nest. The amazing thing about nursing is that it truly encompasses the entirety of the human condition. Nursing is not just a science, but an art. We will teach, we will console, and we will listen. We will also assess, analyze, and possibly make snap decisions that can save someone's life. We still have to take the NCLEX, but I mean, come on, how are we going to be? You might have thought that was a rhetorical question, but I'm about to answer it. It is incredibly difficult. But that's okay, because we are prepared for this. We know that the buck stops here. As long as we can remember, assess, first, implement, Maslow, and the ABCs, then we should probably be okay. And here's the good news. Our excellent professors, our challenging exams, and the high expectations that this college has had for us have all helped us to think and react at a higher level. Without each other and without our amazing professors, completing this program certainly would have been much more difficult and a lot less humorous. But I'd like to point out that without our loved ones, we might not have been able to complete this program at all. I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the friends and family for coming out tonight to celebrate the achievements of our graduates. I know that many of you in the audience have traveled a great distance to be here in order to support the nursing student in your life. But it's not just tonight that you show your support. I'm certain that all of you present have in some way or another helped us make it through this program. Whether you bought our first stethoscope, made us dinner when we had to study, cleaned the house when we were exhausted, or watched the kids when we needed a break, you were there for us. One of the greatest ways you supported us was just by listening. Thank you. You listened to our really disgusting stories from clinical that we found to be absolutely fascinating. You might have responded by holding back your grimace and nodding your head and saying, "That's nice, sweetie. I'm glad you're learning so much." Or perhaps you said, "I am eating lasagna right now. Can you please not talk about pressure ulcers?" Regardless of your response, we appreciate you listening. You answered phone calls from us after exams, and whether it was good news or bad, you encouraged us and lifted our spirits. When we were distressed, overwhelmed, and felt like giving up, you gently reminded us of how wonderful the rewards will be if we just keep trudging along. And now here we are at graduation. As nursing students, we absolutely had to make sacrifices to get through school, but so did our loved ones. They might have sacrificed their summer vacations because we couldn't leave. They might have picked up extra hours at work because we weren't able to. And in reality, they also sacrificed spending time with us. They accepted the fact that we weren't going to be able to go out as much, that we might have to cancel plans last minute, and that if we hadn't called in a week, it wasn't because we were dead in a ditch. It was because we were brain dead on a couch, drowning in note cards. So, to our family, friends, and significant others here tonight, I want to say that we truly could not have done this without you. Your support, love, and steadfast belief in our abilities were essential to our success. Because of you, the world now has 23 new nurses to be of service to others. Thank you all so much for your support in helping us achieve our dreams.